Hey YouTube, in this video I want to talk about the best wipe day bard builds. I'm sure there are a ton of videos like this on YouTube already, so I just want to briefly provide some credibility to explain why you should listen to my opinion on what's good over anybody else. I was one of the first bards to reach demigod in trios, but I know a lot of people don't consider that to mean much, so I'm going to include some footage that shows my participation in the gold scrim lobbies. These lobbies were invite only, and they took place over the past couple weeks where the best trios players queued into each other to practice endgame PvP against similarly geared opponents. My squad did fairly well in these games, and we really only had a losing record against maybe 3 teams, but most players would consider those 3 teams to be the best 3 squads in the NA scene, so we felt pretty good about where we stood among the other top trios teams. The builds I'm going to talk about in this video are strictly for trios, which is the main mode I like to play, but I'll try to include some tips for solo and duo players as well. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this as short and simple as possible. So, on wipe day, for your perks, you're either going to start with Wanderer's Luck or Rapier Mastery. If you're confident, you're experienced, you're with a team that knows what they're doing, pick Wanderer's Luck because wipe day is all about snowballing gear, and luck allows you to bypass a lot of low rarity items and go straight to blues and purples and higher. And once you get like good early gear, your chance of wiping is super low because you stat check a lot of people. So game 1 of wipe, I'm definitely running luck. And you can also just go and do the HR boss on game 1, thanks to the meds you get as a season reward. So hopefully you guys practice doing the HR bosses with no gear, but they can definitely be done, especially for a bard, because weakness makes all the bosses pretty easy except for warlord. But even warlord with weakness, you can definitely do it at level 1 if your team picks up some decent weapons throughout the first run. If you're not that confident or that experienced, then definitely run Rapier Mastery. It adds an insane amount of damage to the default Rapier, helps you clear AI, helps you PvP, just a good perk in general, and Rapier is by far the best bard weapon. And then, after you hit level 5, you definitely want to throw in Charismatic, just because it's annoying to play without it. And for bard, there's so much you have to do in a fight. You have to play your songs, you have to fire a crossbow, you have to drink potions. So, like, the faster you can play your songs, the more time you have to do the other things. Charismatic is like 100% mandatory perk. The other mandatory perk is Superior Dexterity. In the playtests, a lot of people slept on this perk. It makes your switching speed between your utility slots and your weapons way, way faster. And once you play with this perk, you'll never not play with it. It is probably the most broken perk in the game, or one of the most broken perks. Every class wishes they had this. As a bard, you need to play songs, you need to switch instruments, you need to prop pot, you need to switch to crossbow, you need to switch back to a shield. All this switching done 50% faster, it drastically increases like the output of things you can do in a fight. So I would say these 2 perks are 100% mandatory. Like, definitely want to pick them up as fast as possible. Superior Dex, obviously, when you're low geared or naked, doesn't matter as much because you won't have a bunch of throwables and prop pots and things like that. So you can save this for last. But once you're geared up, like, these are definitely the 2 best perks. And then Rapier Mastery, you don't need it right away because you might have a Falchion. If you find a purple Falchion, run the Falchion, right? You can drop this for a bit. And Wanderer's Luck, again, you only need this early on just to help you snowball, but after 1 or 2 games, you can ditch this, and then your final perk slot will be either War Song or Dancing Feet. Really just depends. Dancing Feet is for kiting comps, so if you're playing Wizard, Ranger, Bard, Wizard, Warlock, Bard, any type of composition where you're trying to run and do damage at the same time, and you never want to be in melee range of the enemy, Dancing Feet is super good. If you're playing a composition that wants to run towards the enemy, such as Buff Ball, that could be like Wizard, Barbarian, Bard, Wizard, Cleric, Bard, anything like that, then I think War Song is super bis because it adds a ton of damage to your rapier. Because you can add 6 weapon damage to a rapier, which is insane. Like, if you look at the total damage on a rapier, 6 is a huge percentage damage increase. So you run up to like a fighter, a barbarian, play weakness, and start trading with them, and you'll do so much with this setup. Okay, let's talk about our songs on wipe day. So the single best song on wipe day is going to be Unchained Harmony. Now, once you're geared and like maybe a few days into wipe, you don't want to run this because it takes away a lot of your memory. And you don't want to like there's 9 songs that you want to run. I'll show you those 9, but like Unchained, you don't want to hinder the main 9 songs, which are like your main PvP songs. So once you're a few days into wipe and you have money, just bring in lockpicks. You can buy them from the marketplace. You can find them in dungeons. Really not that hard to find. If your team's clearing really well, you'll pick up a ton of lockpicks here and there. So you don't really need Unchained. You can just use lockpicks. But wipe day Unchained is absolute bliss, especially when you pair it with luck. You're opening a lot of high value chests. You're gonna find some insane gear, and that's gonna lead to a snowball. You're gonna wipe everybody, and you're just gonna start one-shotting mobs, clearing faster. It's just a crazy snowball effect. So we're gonna run that. Then we want to start putting in our long buffs. These are our drum songs. We're gonna put in Accelerando here. Gonna put in Allegro. Actually, before Allegro, we put in Weakness. So the order of the songs actually matters. As you can see right now, if I play my Rousing, I have enough memory for Weakness, but not for Allegro. So I can play these songs being full naked with just a drum and a flute. So there are situations where you get rezzed and you don't have all your instruments, you don't have any knowledge, and then the order of your songs actually matter. I learned this by playing Cleric, right? The order of your spells matters, especially when you get rezzed and you don't have any knowledge on, because the spells you put at the front are the only ones you can play. So if you accidentally put let's say you get rezzed in the storm, I need to heal yourself, and for some reason you put your heals at the back of your song list, well now you're just dead. So, order matters. But with Bard it's pretty easy to pick up memory, especially after they changed the cost of some of these songs. So we're gonna put in the Allegro here, and now we're gonna start putting in our other buffs, our long buffs, harmonic and ballad. I'd put it in the other order actually, ballad first and then harmonic, because it's easier to hit the threshold to play ballad, just one more memory rather than 4 for harmonic. We don't want the harmonic cost to gate us from playing ballad, so ballad should be first. And from here, your final 2 songs will be your yellow songs. The yellow songs always go at the end. I'll show you why. Because yellow songs are played by the lute instrument. The lute actually has knowledge as a base stat. So every lute will have knowledge. And that knowledge is just memory, right? For bards, all it does is memory. So a green lute gives you 3 memory, and that pretty much makes these yellow songs at the end free. Because once you take out your lute to play them, you add 3 to your total memory. That means you really just need to build enough memory for the rest of the songs, which is 25, right? So I don't need 28 because my green lute will play the last 3. I just need 25 memory, and you'll pick that up over the course of your dungeon run. And then don't forget, once you're geared and stuff, you pick up a lot of gold. You make some money. We want to ditch Unchained. That way, we don't need as much knowledge from our gear. And then this is the perfect song list right here. This is Endgame. This is what I ran in the gold scrim lobbies. This is how I got Demigod. You don't need any other songs. This is Biss. You might be wondering, like, what about Song of Shadow or Choral of Clarity? Yeah, from my experience playing a lot of Bard, Song of Shadow is pretty useless because the duration doesn't last long enough. Like by the time, you know, people walk into you, like if they're close enough to be walking into your invis squad, they're also close enough to hear the Song of Shadow. So you don't have the element of surprise. If it lasted like 10 seconds longer, it'd probably be good, but the way it is now, it's just really doesn't do much. And the other thing I see people take is Choral of Clarity. But with the recent changes to like Wizard and Cleric and memory regen, it doesn't really make it that much faster. And especially once you're experienced, you're just gonna bring your squad should just bring like 4, 5 campfires every round, especially in trios. If you have a cleric on your team, you should bring in 3 campfires. Wizards on your team will bring in a ton of campfires. So there's really no need for clarity because campfires will do the job just fine. Now, I don't want to go too deep into like the bard build breakpoints and stuff like that. I made a video called How to Build a Bis Kit for Any Class. And in there I explain how to figure out, how much res you need, how much dex you need, how much bigger you need. The video really breaks it down. So once you figure out those thresholds, just mix and match the gear slots to reach them. But I do want to give you some general tips that I've found over the wipe playing a lot of Bard. Um, so you can like Bards need res and dex, right? And let's take your pants for example. There's res pants, which are these bardic pants, and there's also dex pants, which are cloth pants. You can both of them work, right? If I if I wear res pants, I can get my dex from my chest, and if I wear dex pants, I can get my res from my chest. So you can just mix and match until you have it's the same end result, but it's not actually quite the same. So the main difference is certain slots are more economical to build specific items. Let me explain what I mean by that. So again, for boots, you can build res boots, which are old shoes, or dex boots, which are adventure boots. And I'm going to recommend that you build old shoes and bardic pants. So you get your res from your boots and your pants, like almost in all cases. And the main reason is because these are uncontested pieces. The res shoes, nobody wants them, even though any class can build. Nobody wants them because res is a terrible stat for any class. For bards, it's an amazing stat. So what you find is a huge supply of these boots with insane rolls for super cheap. Look at these boots, for example. 5 move speed, 1.4% move speed bonus. That's 2 of the super rare limited enchants on boots. And I made a video talking about best enchants. You can watch that to learn what the best enchants are for every slot. But you can see a boot like this should cost you 2,000 gold on if it was adventure boots, right? The dex boots, which other classes want to buy, like rangers, you're going to pay 2,000 gold for these enchants. For old shoes, for this specific type of boot, I got these for like 400 gold, super cheap, because the supply is way bigger than the demand. No one wants these type of boots, even if they have god rolls. Same thing for bardic pants. Only bards can wear these. You're gonna find a huge supply of these in the marketplace with crazy, crazy rolls, and you're gonna save a ton of money. So again, even though you can mix and match the pieces, some slots are more economical to build certain pieces. So these are the two I'd focus on. Like Arctic pants, old shoes, or Gigabis, because you can get the roll super cheap. Once you unlock the marketplace, start looking for these. You'll find them cheap, guaranteed, because nobody's buying them, right? So, and then you can get your decks from your chest. And then the rest of your decks, you can get on enchants. So you can pick up dex enchants in other places. Definitely look for those. And then the rest of the gear is like pretty straightforward. Like get the best rapier you can, the best buckler you can, the best crossbow you can. For trios, crossbow is super good. And then grim smiles are going to be your best rings, but early wipe, obviously you can't get grim smiles, so supplement them with survival rings if you need more res, dex rings if you need more dex, or strength and vigor rings also both work. So very flexible. Just try and reach the thresholds that I talk about in my other video. 35 resourcefulness is amazing. You can get there. Dex is really, you need at least 31 dex for your song playing speed. That's where the soft cap begins for song playing speed. But beyond 31, you get a ton of value building more dex in terms of action speed. And action speed is insane on Bard because you can stack true damage. And you can see this is the build I was running in the gold scrim lobbies. True damage on every piece. So 4 from your rings, 2 from your gloves, 2 from your cape, and 3 from your necklace, plus 11 true damage. And with a ton of dex, plus rapier mastery, you're swinging super fast, plus your action speed songs like Allegro and Aria, you're swinging your rapier super fast. You're applying true damage on every hit. So even without a ton of strength or fizz power, you're melting classes. It's insane. So just general tips. Watch my other videos if you want to know the specifics. And I don't want this video to be too long, so hopefully that gave you guys some good ideas of how to play on wipe day and what to build towards for an endgame kit. And if you guys have any questions about Bard songs, Bard strats, just let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for watching, guys.